What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim back with a video request. Actually got a comment some time ago asking me to walk through Dolby Atmos on the Xbox One X. This is a relatively new-ish add-on to the existing way Xbox handles software processing, and it is in the form of the Dolby Access application, which is not free. So if you do want to pick this up, just do a quick search on the Microsoft Store for Dolby Access and you will find this app right here. Some headphones, depending on the variant you buy, will come with Dolby Atmos enabled, and they will include a code on how to actually download this for free. But if not, and you just have a pair of regular headphones, you can pick this up and you will see, I shouldn't say see, you will hear some difference for sure. So once you have it either purchased or bought, it's up to you. It's not gonna show you Modern Warfare. It's gonna actually show you this Dolby Access app. And this is what it's gonna look like. So I wanna run you very quickly through what you're gonna see. And then I want to show you how to make sure you're actually having it enabled on your console, because it appears in two separate places. And I think after reading the comment that I received on understanding the setup, I think that's where some of the confusion comes in. So right now I have my TV set up through my HDMI cable, which is processing both of my picture and my sound. As such, if I go over to the settings tab, you'll see it gives me an error and it says, hey, we can't use this right now until you have your headphones connected. So I'm just going to be using my Astro A40 TRs, and I'm going to go ahead and plug them into the bottom of my port. You probably can't see because it's really dark in here, just the way I like it. And I'm going to go ahead and plug that into the bottom of my headphone jack. This will work whether you have the actual headphones or whether you are using the Xbox adapter. So now I have my headset plugged in. You can see the cord there. And the reason I'm recording it this way and not the other way, typically of a nicer screen image, is I wanted to show you this, that as soon as I plugged it in, it did in fact pop up here. So now I can go through and select kind of what I want this to be. Remember, Dolby Atmos does work for any setting and any sound processing. So whether you want to configure it for any of your home theater devices, you can do so here, whether you have a home theater setup or whether you are using Dolby Vision, which would come directly through your television, which is different than the sound piece. I'm not going to get into that piece today. I'm gonna just bounce back to either the headphones, which most people are gonna use it for that, or for the home theater. We'll go ahead and leave it on headphones for now, and we'll scroll over to products. And this is where the kind of nuts and bolts of the magic happens. Whether you want to really get into this or not, it's entirely up to you. At this point, Dolby is enabled, almost, I should say, almost enabled. And what they're allowing you to do is you can set through some different presets. So if you want to leave it on game mode, which is what I typically leave it as a default, I go ahead and just tell it to kind of do what they call performance mode, and it just kind of is enabled. You'll see the check mark down in the bottom left corner right here that says enabled. That means it's on. You can also toggle it if you want to go into movie mode, and there are different built-in equalizers here which allow you various profiles. If you don't like that, you can actually go into the custom tab. There are 3 separate customs slots for you here, and you can get into each of the different frequencies to determine what you want it to be. Now, I am definitely not an audiophile, so do not listen to my recommendations at all on this. But I can tell you a very quick Google search for Dolby Atmos Xbox settings. People will walk you through what all of these things mean, much smarter than me, and they will show you, depending on the game, if you know the 8 kilohertz should be higher or lower. They'll walk you through all of these things, and they'll walk you through these 2 settings as well. I just wanted to show that it's here. Regardless of which profile you select, once you hit enable here, you see it highlighted at the bottom, that will become your custom preset, or in this case, If you go back to, the game settings, you can make that. Now that's why mine says enabled, because I have game enabled. However, if you went into the movie mode or the music mode or custom 1 or custom 2 or custom 3, this is where you're gonna toggle everything. Now, I have a mix amp from Mixer. I love it. It has all of this built in through hardware. So I just have to press a button. But if you don't have that, don't worry. This is how you do it. And it's gonna actually give you 6 different presets to select from, okay? So that's the first step. That is making sure that Dolby is actually configured and ready to go regarding your sound profiling. Now, with your headphones plugged in, make sure you can go to your audio tab here. This is where you're gonna be able to adjust the volume in your game. You know, you can adjust how loud or quiet it is. If the headset favors more game volume or more of your party volume. And then you can also adjust how sensitive your microphone is as well. The last thing to make sure of, though, is to go into the settings menu and to go up to general. Here, your volume and audio output, this is where you're going to look through everything, and you will see over here on the side, there is a piece, the right column here says headset audio. And what you want to do is select this. By default, it will be stereo uncompressed. Regardless if you paid for anything or not, Windows has enabled, or Xbox I should say, which is Windows, has enabled this thing called Sonic. Now Sonic is their variant of how sound processing should be. But if you paid extra for the Dolby Atmos, or if you selected the, if you, like me, you bought a pair of headphones that came with it and you entered the code, once you install that app, this option will be enabled. If this option is not selected, if Dolby Atmos is not selected, then all of that other stuff you did before will be for nothing. If you just left it here at Stereo Uncompressed, it's not gonna go to that application. It's not gonna pull down those custom settings for you to work. So a lot of people have said, hey, I feel like I've configured everything. You know, I went into the store or I purchased Dolby Access, the application. I'm trying to get it to work. I have my headphones plugged in. I was able to run through all of these custom settings. I went over to the products tab. I verified everything was working the way it should. How come my sound doesn't sound any different? This is probably why. And you want to make sure, again, going into settings, go over to volume and audio output under the general tab. And when your Xbox is not misbehaving, that is where you're going to enable that option over here called headset audio, and that will get you up and running. There are some limitations to this solution and setting it up. That's why I stress strongly, I'm going to show this one more time, make sure your headset is plugged in before you begin. You'll notice here in bright bold in the bottom, it says all audio is now optimized for headsets. Once you unplug your headset, which I'm gonna do right now, everything goes back to normal. And what you will still be able to set this option here, regardless if your headset is plugged in or not. However, with my headset unplugged, now just my raw controller floating in the abyss of outer space, you see if I go over to the products tab, you will see that it is saying, hey, why isn't your headset plugged in? That's why I recommend before you start getting into this, you plug it in. I hope you guys found this guide informative. I didn't try to make it as simple as I could. I mean, audio profiling and sound is a very, very, very complex subject, but I think even if you do nothing else and you buy this application or you get it for free, and you put it on your Xbox One, I think you're gonna see significant gains in particular games. Not all of them, but in some games, I think it's gonna help you out. There are a lot of great guides out there for you to check into all of these equalizer settings and to really get into the nuance of them. Each game, depending on the game, like Call of Duty, for example, does have its own separate equalizer stuff. I just plugged it back in, no magic here, just plugged it back in. Some games do have some of this built in. This will always kind of be your master. That's the last thing I want to close on. This will kind of not override any game, but this will be your default profile going in. If you take care to set this up, which I have done with my Astro Mix Amp, You don't have to worry about this ever again, and it will just work for all of your games. You may have different profiles based on which game you would like to play, but I promise you the investment is worth it, the time is worth it, and it will make your game experience much greater and much richer. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. To the guy who initially asked for it, I hope you came back to the channel and enjoyed it. For everybody else, have a great Monday. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.